Alright, we're live here at DigiFX. I'm Nate Mill, your host, and today we're going to continue our development on the lava chamber level I've been working on the last few days. You can see in front of you here we have the level in action. We have all the particles in effect. And if you missed some of my streams, or you want to check out a few minutes and you want to see more, I'll show you real quick what we set up the past few days. So we worked mostly on these FSM traps here, and why is this window locked out? We mostly worked on the FSMs, as I said before. So I set up a few different variances of traps here. Some of them are on timers, some are actually using triggers, and others using sequence of events to where you hit a trigger and it affects some other stuff. So I was gonna leave it. I was getting the stream specifically for this level yesterday, but I decided it maybe fun to finish it up, get some audio in the level to where we can get some reactions and some extra sounds, and actually show people how we find those and where we get those. So I guess the first thing we'll do is we'll just walk through this real quick. We set up 4 different trap sequences from yesterday. And you can see the first one here is on these steps. It's just these flamethrower style particle effects that collide off the wall, and if you walk through them it'll affect our character here. So it's like anything, you'll just wait until they go away and try to run through them. The second we set up was these saw blades that you just saw go by, and those are set up on a trigger effect right here. And so the goal here is really to have somebody run through the flames and then try to dodge the blades that come at you. So more than likely the first time you are going to get hit, but hopefully you will learn from your mistakes. So we dodge those. And then here's an example of a floor trap. Now this is just one of many we're going to put here. And the overall goal for the trap itself is we're going to set up a pattern effect to where you can figure out the pattern. And just a little hint for those of you that have played these kind of games before, we have the actual sequence in which you need to step on up top. So you have to do a little looking around in the AR space to figure that out. But on top of that, we have a floor trap here, and we will set those up in probably about a series of 9 in a row. And then we can go ahead and just have try to figure out which sequence makes sense. So because I was just setting it up, I only have one in place in the center, and you can easily go around it and not set it off. But in the future, that won't be the case. So we'll pretend like there are many here, and I'll just get Sully lined up with the trap here, and you walk over it, and then these go off. So one thing I noticed right away there was that the spikes do appear a little too fast. We want the pressure plate to go down and reveal the holes right here to where it can actually do that. And that's something we'll fix. So I have a little checklist of things to do. There's much to do on this level, but I'm going to stick to the basic stuff here. So next, moving forward, we have just the reaction from the prize here. And if you did tune in the end yesterday, which I don't think anybody really saw because it was about 2 hours in, but I was having issues to where when I was changing over the mesh here, when he was rising up to idling, it was doing a big jump, and so I had to fix that just by aligning the animation. But now he does what he needs to. So another little thing that needs to be fixed is the fact that there's no ramp going up here. So unfortunately, this is as far as he can go at the moment, but we can still click on him and see how he reacts. So just like any NPC in the game, for now, you can just click on him 3 times and he will react and die or pass out, whatever you want to call it, for now. But in the future, you will have to do more advanced interaction with him to do that. When we get to hit him, he comes down, he slams, an explosion goes off, and then you get some stuff from him. And we will update the collectibles you get from him shortly. So another thing I noticed there was it did disappear pretty quickly, and we want to extend the time before it destroys itself. So that's another thing on the list I'm going to add. And And then lastly, we need to make sure after he explodes, this wall comes down and reveals the back room. So that's pretty much where we left off yesterday, and I think let's go ahead, before we start implementing audio assets to add to the Playmaker, let's just fix the little things that are pretty easy here. So I have all of these all of the assets we worked on in the last few days in the stream in this staging area. And the way I like to do this is I always am trying to set a final standard of version 1.0, and so everything that's in the version 1 stays down here, and everything that we're adding into it, or at least working into it, making sure it works, stays in the staging area. And until we actually approve it as a team, we don't necessarily add it in there until we assume it makes sense. So this is our Oasis core system with all the assets, everything tucked away nice and neatly so we can keep it organized. And up here is all the stuff that we're working on and all the traps. So we need to find our floor trap here, and obviously it's the one that says floor trap. And here I have various items in here that we set up along with the trigger, which is placed over. It's cheating a little bit. We're using a little extra wiggle room, but you know, we have this right here. So we do need to make sure that the animation gets delayed a little bit there. And the easiest way to do that, to be honest, is probably just to slide this down because it's at the 0 point. So I bet if we just bring it over to about a tenth of a second in, well, it's not a tenth because it only goes by 60 seconds, but 1/6 of a second in, we shift it over then. That might give us what we were looking for here. So let's go ahead and just play that and see if that's the quick fix. Because it's always better to use the key points, in my opinion, than actually going into the visual scripting engine or into the script and trying to add the extra time to separate it. Just because this is a little bit more flexible and it's a little bit more forgiving if you screw something up or if it goes off. But you know, that's really just depends on what you're doing. This time we're not going to care, we're invincible, we just walk through all this stuff like it doesn't bother us. So here's really what we're testing, so I will zoom in real close so we can see how this reacts. And I walk over it, and they're still too fast. So it tells me we just have to really extend it, probably out to the second point. The reason I don't want it too far is I don't want it to be so far ahead that by the time they come up, you're already past the trap, and then eventually just misses you, the whole point of it, and it goes off when you're on top of it. So we'll just say, let's say 45, about 3/4, 3/4 of the way into the second here. Let's see if we can wait and see if that does anything. I still think it's too fast though. It's probably gonna have to be a second, so I'll change that. So I do apologize for the background fan noise here. I am in my server room doing this, and I got a portable green screen today that I'm going to use to travel with to be able to broadcast and do stuff on the road for development. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Going to New York this weekend to meet up with some of our team members for the project, along with doing some photo shoots and some marketing videos for the game itself in New York City, and then just enjoying the city for what it is. We all know that New York's a fun time. If you've never been, you should check it out. It's a great city. And so here we go up, go through, and alright, so that actually looked a lot better, and I'm going to do it one more time just to confirm that that's where we want it, and we'll just leave it and we won't worry about it for now. And I also should note that in order for this to affect our character, we have to make sure that there's colliders or something on these spikes that have triggers, right? And when they hit our player, we have it react. And so that's something I'm going to do later on down the road when we have all the attributes set up. I did mention that yesterday. Mostly just focusing on the gameplay experience and a lot of the assets and getting a feel for what the game's going to be like to promote it, and then we'll go in there and do all the details. So we get up to our little spike, we're looking around, we're figuring it out, and we'll go step on it, goes down, pretty good. I think that's good enough for now. So we'll check that off. Another quick fix we can do is we can add the walkway that we need here. So I'm going to make sure we have that. And what's weird is that there is one there, but I don't think he was able to walk up. Oh wait, never mind. I think it was this one, right? No, it was this one that was having issues. Yeah, so sometimes it can be a little quirky if you don't have it lined up correctly, if you accidentally move something around. And so I don't necessarily know why it wasn't working there, because it was working below. But it is here. This is why I also have the music, so it covers up the servers. So it's kind of like servers and music and me talking. It's a fun mix, huh? Alright, so we have it loaded. We have the level layers selected. And let's really pinpoint on where he's getting stuck here. Goes over that. Goes hit. See, even when you're walking right there, you actually can dodge it, which is why I wanted to set the trigger up a little bit farther. Okay, so it looks like it's actually the first one that he's having trouble with, which I thought was working. It was working at some point, but it definitely is not working here. So that tells me that clearly the walkway needs to be adjusted. Okay, so that little tweak, I thought it fixed it for a second. Alright, so I don't know why. He's definitely on top of it. So that tells me that these things are tricky. These ramps are sometimes more tricky than setting up these reactive triggers, because they're very nitpicky when it comes to how they set up. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of a little tiny bit of gap right there, which is probably why it's saying no thank you. I don't like it. So we gotta go to our world view, not our local, because it will make it so we can pull it in the y-axis here. And this is never easy to, usually you have to just get lucky with this. Alright, so we're going to try that. The big thing is I want to make sure that he can go back and forth, right? Because if you can only go one way and you can't run away. Alright, so this one also looks like it's going to be issues. Like this issues. And I'm pretty sure that hopefully will fix the issue here. And just for the sake of the ramps, let's go ahead and put one over here for now. And we may have to tweak this one too. And really, we're going to have ramps on all four sides of these for it to really work. And we'll do that real quick. He's laughing at me because I've maximized my room. Like the new setup?
I have no idea how do you get in.
I'm just, I'm trying to. It's all about maximizing the space. Eventually, I'll try to get a big room and then spread out. But it's kind of a challenge. I like to actually figure out how much I could fit in here before.
I have a better idea for this.
What's that?
You get a smaller desk.
A smaller desk?
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah. No, it's actually not the desk that's the issue. It's the fact the green screen doesn't fit this way. Oh. So I had to do it just and this is portable, so I actually travel with this. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, a smaller desk would solve the doorway, but yeah, it's really the green screen too.
Smaller desk would be a little more big. like this maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hopefully I'm gonna get one of these. You know, I'm hoping we're getting some serious cash, and then we're gonna get some big things. I got a team coming together now for what we're doing, so you know, hopefully we're gonna get some more space, and then this will just be the server room. But for now, it's just where all the magic happens. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. So I'm just was talking to the custodian guy here. I'm here late working a lot, and he's always here, and we talk a lot about life and just, you know, ask him how he's doing, where he's from, tell stories. Very nice guy. And I always like getting to know people's story and what brings them to Boston, let alone other places in the country from somewhere else. But yeah, he's right. You can't see it because I'm keying it out, but I am in a small little server room with a lot of stuff in here, and it's just people are giving me a thumbs up. They go, "What the heck is this guy doing?" That's part of the challenge. So is let's see. So we have. To extend this right here, and we have to make sure that this is all the way up, right? Because we want to do that, and alright, and then bring it up a little bit more. And we're gonna bring it over here a little bit more. And that, fingers crossed, should give us that ramp we need. So we do need to put those on all four sides because we do want to have stuff all around this area that you can actually use, you can find and do stuff with. So I don't think that's super crucial right now. Let's just see if we can get all the way up to the statue here. Right. So I broadcasted for a couple hours last night, and I was playing my music all night. And it was interesting. I didn't realize that specific songs or record labels can block videos because there's songs in it. Specifically, the two that blocked my videos was Calvin Harris Slide and Him for the Weekend Coldplay remix, which those are great songs. They did really well, but it's I find it silly when one song can have so much power over all the others. But that's just the way it is. I mean, if you're playing their music, you gotta play by their rules. But I originally didn't like how Twitch was doing it with muting of the audio, but YouTube has this cool. I might actually do a video on it next time it happens, just to share with people the and see how, and do a before and after comparison of. They have this new beta where you can pull out the audio and keep the voice or my narration on top of it. And if you study audio engineering or sound engineering, audio production, waves, you can pull out different frequencies in terms of waves, and I don't know exactly how it's working, but they're clearly breaking the wave down and looking for a repetitive beat in the background. Maybe it's a volume, maybe it's a decibels of how loud it is compared to my voice. But I didn't actually look into the video and see what it sounded like with it fixed, but my video was, I could post it public, and after 2 hours of recording, that's all you really want. So YouTube's, besides blocking it at first, I think that's just the easy way to make everybody happy without getting sued for that on their half, and then for broadcasters, it's up to you to figure out the problem. But anyways, we have our guy here. He does this little slam, boom. So we have to do a few things now regarding our guy. We have to extend the time before that destroys itself and that's an easy fix. It's adding a couple of seconds onto it. And then we also have to make it animate this wall down. So it's going to be another thing where you have to do a global event that affects the wall, the false wall here, to the prizes. And if I just manually move this down, this is what it's going to look like. There we go. And so I don't necessarily know what we're going to have behind here besides a bunch of gold in the room, a bunch of treasures, and a bunch of stuff to collect. Obviously, it's going to be lots of rewards in here because it is a final room. And we'll have to figure out what we put in there, but that's something for asset management, asset placement people on the team. They can figure that out. I'm simply just driving the vision behind the game itself and the gameplay, and then having others help me build it out. So as you see, now he's stuck on this side, which I guess in a way, if you get this far, isn't a negative, isn't a terrible thing. Like, why would you go back to the beginning? But you obviously can't have that if it's an exploration game, and all these instance level kind of games. You can, there's one of our magic lamps right here. There's one of our items that gives you wishes, which when you collect it, it's a special item. Of course, we have the golden monkey head right here, which is the glorified prize, the relic. So I think the next thing we can do is we can think about we're not thinking, we're just doing at this point. So gold trap, animated trigger, playmaker, animate mesh, lava demon. I think at this point we want to extend his destroyer. We don't want him just, we want to wait more than 1 second here, and that's where we got to fix that. So another quirk, I've talked about this before, a new thing with Unity, for me at least in 2019, that I haven't been used to, is this, when you go into a prefab, it goes in this special section, and I haven't figured out if I like it or not like it. I'm pretty neutral on it right now. I like the fact that it separates it all. It's only the prefab, and it brings its own little mini scene here. Everything else is blue. I like that, I guess, but I don't like that. At the same time, I don't like the fact that I can't interact with their stuff using, because with Playmaker, a lot of times you have to drag stuff on and use it back and forth. So maybe give an option to have this. I don't know if you make it an option, you could toggle on and off. I mean, I guess the developers at Unity know what they're doing in building this out, and I'm not going to question that. I'm only going to speak my concern about what it has when I go through with it. But it's a small problem to have, really. So let's just extend this by 3 seconds. Let's be generous there. And we also need to... So it goes off. He just slams down. I do think... Okay, and so we gotta make sure it's not too long to where the guy's just sitting there. So let's just try 2 seconds for now. Because there is a chance if it's too long, he'll just be slamming down and they'll go back in the idle state. And we want it to go, we want it to destroy him right when he's done slamming and the explosion's finished. So it's a little bit of wiggling around with the 2 assets we gotta create. And let's see. Okay, so we're going all the way through. Dodge the spikes. You click on this guy 3 times. Alright, so we may have to tweak this a little bit, and unfortunately I wasn't in the mode that I need to see here. And also when I stream, this does get a little bit crazy. My MacBook gets pretty hot, and I have to elevate. I actually use a trackpad, an old trackpad mouse that I don't use anymore, to elevate and give it some space underneath it so it can vent out better. And I mean, that is one of the issues when you use a laptop over a PC, is that it's all about you're limiting the amount of cooling you can add to it besides putting on one of those fan systems. But last thing we need is more fans with a microphone. So as long as it doesn't melt the processor and ruin the computer, I'm okay with it getting on. And with flash drives and flash space on computers now, there's not a lot of moving parts, so which means less vibration, which means which is always good. And again, I'm trying to have a portable broadcast system where I can travel anywhere and do this and share this stuff, and so that's why everything has to be mobile for me. Okay, so our guy comes up, and let's make sure we have a good view so we can see when he disappears. 1, 2, 3. So that's actually not that bad. You saw right when he stood back up, he disappeared. And maybe we can actually create a dying sequence after the slam, like his last big boom kind of thing. But for now, I think that's good enough. Let's move on to the wall here. So, just like the other things we animate here, like the floor traps, we have to set up a global event. And the biggest mistake I made yesterday is I had this locked and I thought I copied the right one and I didn't, so I'm very careful now about not making the same mistake. And instead of copying that, which used to be the way I did it, I'm just going to copy the entire component here. I like doing that better now. And then I can go to the false wall, I can paste it as a new one, and I can make a new event, and this is going to be lower false wall, right? And we will go ahead and make that global, and I'm going to make that here, and then we're going to delete the activate spikes instead. And we don't need to destroy it, right? So we're not going to do that. Well, I'll take that back because we do want to eventually destroy it when it disappears. So we just have to make sure that we don't destroy it before it goes all the way down. We have to set the animation. So we'll just say 5 seconds. We'll be very generous about that. And then we'll just say destroy, right? Destroy the wall. Okay, so the only other thing we have to do here is we have to set up the animation of how long it is. So I just select, make sure the object's selected, I create this, and then I go into my Oasis Live, I go into my animations, and I say lower false wall. And it's looking good. And then we'll just record. Go to here to about, I don't know, like lowers down to, I would say about 5 seconds, really, right? That seems about right. So that's about 300 frames. It's 5 seconds. 60 times 5 is 300. And we'll bring this down. And then we'll do that. We'll test it out real quick. That's even a little bit fast for a false wall, but you know, keep it swift, keep it moving, keep it in motion. My rule of thumb in general, well, this really refers to motion graphics, is anytime you have like nothing moving in a scene, it's boring. And in marketing, you always have to have something moving around doing stuff. So I never like to just keep static stuff on the screen. Now this is specifically motion graphics, like 2D stuff, but 3D is very similar. 3D actually, there's actually probably even more expectations for dynamic movement and stuff moving around. But that's okay. And I can't tell. I guess it does have an ease. I never really... I always thought it was a linear, but I think you actually have to turn on the linear, and now it's linear. So before, it already eases in and out, which is pretty nice. I mean, it would be nice to maybe tweak it. There's different kinds of tweens in animation. There's different, like, there's, I forget, I'm not going to start trying to remember their names, but there's different variants of how they ease in and out. There are some that are very extreme, and there's some that are very casual. This is a relatively casual, generic one, but it works. So, lastly, now that we have this in place, we want to make it to, we want to go back to our guy right here, and we want to say, alright, we're going to go and open our prefab again. And we're gonna say, wait 2 seconds, destroy lava demon. But we're also gonna send an event where we're gonna send another event. So we're gonna copy this, edit, paste. It could be after, it doesn't really matter because it's pretty fast altogether. We're just gonna change that to the lower false wall right here. And so it's going to send 2 events when this guy dies. And that's going to do it for us. Pretty sure that's all we need to do here. Unless I'm forgetting something. So we'll go ahead and save that out real quick. And press play. Yesterday, I forget the model of this. I have the model of my camera here. I bought this Logitech 4K webcam. It's good. It's sharp. It keys out. It's doing a really good key job here, and we can probably work on the green that's on my hair right there. But it did get a little blurry last night, and I'm not sure if that's because the sensors were getting hot and I was having trouble, or if I just had to do with it was getting really dark in my place. So I'm watching that. I'm seeing how this camera works, along with the microphone, the Yeti Nano mic here, which if I come in, I sound pretty good. I probably have to figure out a way to keep my face this close without being so close to the camera. Because if I turn it up too much, you're going to get a lot of that fan noise in the background. So maybe if I move it closer, that seems a little bit better. Make some room. Oh, what happened? The wall just decided to do its thing? Or what? Oh, okay. I know why. Because we totally forgot to set up a crucial step here. And that is adding getting rid of this animator. We don't want this animator here. Right? We don't need that. We need an animation on this. And we need the animation to be our false wall here, and we can turn that off, and we'll just say false wall animation, lower false wall, and that means we have to actually activate it. So I did forget a few steps, which I don't know why I thought I wouldn't have to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just it's getting cocky there. It's getting cocky there for a second. Alright, so that should work now. Now we should be have a trigger event that sets that off. It's just not automatic. Okay. Alright, so we're playing our level here now. And go up. And we go forward. And once we finish this I will start working on the audio, and then I'm going to do another stream later on the new level we got going on. Alright, go that. Boom. Now it should come down. And it didn't. Why didn't it come down? What did I do wrong this time? What did I do wrong here? Who knows what I did wrong? Let's try that again. Let's just see if it actually destroys. The best way to see if an FSM is broadcasting correctly is if it actually destroys it in the end. It means it actually got past that part. And you have to lock it on and see if it works. Let's see what we have here. Okay. Yeah. Boom. Spikes get dodged. Our guy goes down here. Boom, boom, boom. Later. Okay, so clearly our animation is not working again, as usual. Always a pain in the butt. And I do think this is because I didn't have something I'm constantly trying to figure out here. But I think it's because I set this before I had the animation on here. So for the sake of fixing it, let's go ahead and just do that. Let's delete the animation. Let's redo the animation here. It's missing something now, so we'll just say 0. It's probably going to add it. Create. And we'll say lower false wall. So the more I do this, the more I get used to the sequence of events in which you have to set them up for it to work. So we can say record now. And then we can go to about 5 seconds like we had before. Bring it down. Oh. Bring it down. Oh. Okay, so you gotta be careful when you're recording, and the animation tool's pretty finicky about doing stuff. So you want to make sure you record, tap it off, and then that's okay. So that looks like it can work better. That seems like a good thing here. And all I have to do now is I have to go back into my guy here and reset this up because I don't think it has the... Oh, it does. It's named the same, so it actually should work. Okay, so let's try this one more time and see if that fixed it. I think it automatically added... I didn't check the to see if it added the animation to it when we add it, but I'm pretty sure if you have an animation component on, it will add it in the animation right there. So if we click here and we go to our animation, oh, it didn't. Okay, so interesting. So that's definitely not going to work then. All right, one. Come on, man. Why are you going to be like that? So Unity, if you ever watch this, maybe make it a little bit easier. or am I just complaining about something that is not a big deal? I just feel like it should affect... Well, it's not Unity, it's actually Playmaker. It's Playmaker's fault here. Let's not blame Unity. Playmaker, get your shit together. Just joking. Playmaker's one of the best, #1 selling assets. And if you guys ever play Hearthstone, Hearthstone is built off of Playmaker. Okay, so it's still not working here. So I'm a little bit confused on why that is, but it tells me that it's definitely an issue with the animation here. I mean, I can just look at the... I want to make sure I turn that off so I don't make the same mistake again. Spikes. It's just like the spikes. So with the spikes, there's nothing special going on here. The trap trigger, core spike trigger, says, hey, send this event. Did I activate the send event? Maybe that was the issue. I didn't activate it. So let's see if we did that. Alright. Open that up. And we'll go. Okay. Okay. It is a global event, right? No. I mean, it definitely destroys the guy, so this is gonna go back onto... I just get confused sometimes with everything's talking everything different places. You gotta... And the music, actually, sometimes it distracts me with it. But we'll figure this out. I wonder if there's an issue where it can't broadcast. I don't want to. It probably can broadcast 20 if 100 times if it wanted to. Let's see. So that does broadcast all blah blah blah, which in turn the spikes come up. It says, hey, activate spikes, play animation. This is not even being used, so that's not, has nothing to do with the owner. Is it? Maybe it's because I didn't apply it here. Let's just try that. Yeah, that might be it, because I didn't apply it. I assume the prefab would affect everything, but I guess sometimes it doesn't affect it, so... and you know, prefabs are a failsafe. If you spend hours or days setting something up, a very sophisticated prefab sequence, whether using scripts or Playmaker or whatever, you know, it's a version control failsafe kind of thing. They don't want you to screw up the original asset if you're tweaking something in a specific level, because you'll have a prefab, but sometimes, and you'll see this when I set up one of my levels where you're underwater, we're going to use Sully, but instead of having him walk, we're going to have him swim. So we'll have to set up a swim sequence instead, and that's a little secret to what's to come in the future in other levels here. Alright, so... oh man, why do you not want to come down here? What did I ever do to you, wall? Alright, so it's clearly not destroying either. Why is that? We don't have it selected, so let's go ahead and see if it destroys itself. I mean, it's definitely working, because this is on. Okay. Oh. Well, this is probably our issue here. Why is it called platform blah blah blah? Alright, so let's just edit the instance instead. I bet that's part of the reason here. This goes here, goes there. It's got that. Alright, and that's gonna go ahead and destroy itself. I do not want to... I don't want this to affect the prefab, because then it's going to destroy also the floor. So I may have to save this out as its own prefab. I do not want to override this, because that will affect this wall and every other wall that I copied this from. I have to make sure I save it out as a different model, so I can determine the differences right there. So see a little gap right here that wasn't there before. I wonder if I accidentally did that. if you can see that. You see the gap? Interesting. I don't remember seeing that gap before. I must have accidentally gapped it. We can fix that though. That shouldn't be a problem. It's just as simple as bringing it in that way, like that. Not a problem. And of course, you can lock all these layers, which is probably for best practices. I probably should be doing that, and just for the sake of, I like that on though. It's a lot cooler. I don't care if it slows down the stream. I like looking at the lava. That's the DigiFX guy in me. Alright, so we'll get this. It may take 100 times and waste 30 minutes of your life, but if you tune in 29 minutes, you'll see the final product. Alright. You suck, Wall. You suck. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this out as a separate prefab, so it's different than the other stuff, and then try to reset up the animation and all that stuff, because this is clearly not working for us here, and that's just only so much I can take. Okay, so I guess I should see if it destroys itself. I wish this was not such a pain in the butt every time I want to set up a simple animation. It's literally just 2 key points. It's not like even hard. Okay, so we now are going through here, and we set off the trigger trap right there. Let's get another trap up right here, and we go up here. We click our little dude. It says, "Hey, what's up, man? Don't tase me." And then it does destroy itself. So it's definitely 100% absolutely the animation that's screwing up for us. Okay, and I guess the other thing is we should probably turn off this lava too, so that it's not like violently burning our guy once we kill the person bringing the lava in the floor there. So that may be something we do as well. And we have a chest over there. So we do have to propagate and filter out objects specific for this, but I'm really determined to figure out why this is not working, because it has to be fixed. Inventory. So this is where it gets a little. I wonder where I should save this. Alright, so I'm definitely going to save it in here. I'm going to save it as a new prefab right in here, right? I don't want it to replace anything, so I'm going to make sure that I drag it in below original prefab. Okay, so that's now not going to affect the other stuff, which may be part of the issue why we're having so many problems with this specific layer. Unless, of course, I'm overlooking something like I usually do. Okay, so I don't necessarily want this prefab to have the FSM on it. I wanted to see if yeah, so if this were actually working, Hmm. If I hear either Hymn of the Weekend or Slide come on, I have to talk really loud and change it before they block me. You greedy producers. You're not even the talented ones. I might get some rich guy coming after me now. I don't know. I don't know who decides to block the music, but I think it's silly. I get it if you're like trying to like be cool to somebody else's art, but I'm just trying to listen to music. Okay, so I figured yesterday I was wondering what this blue thing meant, but that just means you're in preview mode. I realized that when I was watching the video back, that's all that means there. So now you know. This means you're in preview on the animator. Learn something new every day. Alright, so we do need to go ahead and add this back on now, right here, and we don't need this animator though, so let's just ditch that, and let's just go ahead and open this up, and alright, come on. Okay, so that might be the issue there. You notice how I was selecting the prefab, which was a different prefab, and not this prefab, which, see how it doesn't have the FSM there? That might be the issue there. It's selecting the prefab, not the object. And we actually want to select this object, so now when I click on this, it selects this, not the prefab. And this is probably one of the things I've made my hair fall, made it go gray, like made it green in all the time I've ever used Unity, is knowing what prefabs can affect and what level items can affect, and how you gotta know what it's affecting. This FSM has been added to as an override to the prefab instance. Okay, and that's fine. I don't care if the prefab has it at this point. I just care that it's affecting my false wall here, not the prefab. Okay, well this might be, I say it always might be a solution. We'll see what happens. What do you say? Who's feeling lucky? I'm feeling lucky. Ain't gonna get me. Boom. You like that? It set off one trap that time. Boom. Oh man, I am freaking angry. Man. I think I'm gonna order some sushi tonight. Get some sushi. It's a sushi night. I always try to eat twice as much fish as I do chicken and poultry. I think fish is hey, Boston is it's a hard, it's a coastal city, so a lot of fish you can get here, but I like keying myself out now, because before I was facing the hallway and people walking by would be in my camera, and I didn't want to piss them off. Now you can't tell where I am. It could be, anywhere. And I'm actually not facing the hallway anymore, so nobody can see my screen, so it's a little bit more privacy and a little bit more respect for people that don't want to be on camera now. So that's why I invest in the green screen along with other stuff. Yeah. Okay, I was checking out my green screen. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll try this one more time. Alright, and we'll see if that does affect it. And I think I'm going to just Do you think it has something to do with the fact that these are parent objects, and these are childs and these are parent, and that the FSM can talk to something within the sequence? I think with global, it doesn't have to be parented. I think it just can talk to anything in the scene, because as long as it can see the global event in the FSM series, I'm almost positive. Yeah, that's definitely the case. I've set up globals that are on something totally different than the package there. So I think realistically, we're gonna have to just do this again for the 10th time. And oh man, at this point I don't even know why I'm live streaming this. It's not winning me any friends, or it's not giving me any credit there, but it's trial and error. Real life problems in DigiFX. So, delete this latest sucker. And we will, I mean, just to prove my point, when I go like this, when you go like that, well, I actually have to have the animation selected, but it moves when you have that selected, right? And that comes up. That's so you know the animation's on that object. So it has to be on the object you're affecting here. So it has to be on this one, which means we have to create it on this one. And just for the sake of having that open missing, I'm going to try it with that open. And we're just going to say false wall lower activate. We're going to change the name because maybe for some reason the animation got cached. See, that time it added it in, which makes me think it's going to work now. And the last time, notice how it didn't add it in. So, but I also had a 0 in there. I didn't have a 1. So this is all very interesting quirks about setting this up, which in a way why I think it's important. I have to record this so I know better. So I can bring this down here, and I can go here like that. And I can do that. Okay. And then, oh, this is definitely a song that will block my phone. Like, you know what? I don't care. Do what you must, YouTube. Block my music. Give Calvin Harris his money. He deserves it. He's a cool guy. Wasn't he dating Tay-Tay for a while? I don't know. Oh man. Yeah, I think as long as I keep on talking over the music, I can't determine what the song is. It just gets too confusing for the algorithm to pick it up. So I just have to keep on talking non-stop for it not to do this. But just for the sake of my sanity, I'll just change it. Yeah, I mean, demonetize me. I don't care about that. I think I care about money on this stuff. Nobody's gonna watch it. Right. False wall. Lava demon boss. Does his business. Gets a little bitchy. Gets a little pissy here. Alright. Okay. False wall, lower wall, animation, edit that, false wall, lower false wall, it's not called that, it's called this. Alright, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put $5 on this. I'm gonna put, let's see what I have in my pocket. I'm gonna bet $1 to myself that this will work now. And if it doesn't, I lose $1 to myself. I'll tell you what, whoever comes and picks up this $1 watching my live stream, if it doesn't work, will get it. It's your $1 if it doesn't work. You have to come to DigiFX so and pick it up. I'm not bringing it to you. Alright. Alright, so let's try this. And let's do that. And do that. Come on, baby. There it is. I knew it. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that and let's upload the collaborate. And how long have I been streaming for here? I might take another quick break. It's been pretty much an hour. When I looked at it, it was an hour exactly. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this out, take a 5-10 minute break, and then start streaming in about 15 minutes, and we'll start doing audio. So this is Nate Millett from DigiFX, working on the Lava Chamber version 1 for Oasis Live. Thank you for joining me. Tune in next time when we do some final touch-up on the level, and then we're going to show some new levels that use similar kind of traps and items and a lot of cool stuff. And I'll reveal some other cool things down the road. So, see you later, guys.